Hello and welcome back to another episode with Going Sideways with Tenn.Drift. Today I bring you one of the best episodes I've had so far with Paco Ibarra. Many of you will probably know him out of Maximum Driftcast. He's had a pretty decent history in the sport of just building some outrageous cars, and he is an absolute blast to chat with. So won't hold up anymore. Here we go. Thank you everyone for listening. Today I bring you Paco Ibarra from Maximum Driftcast, as well as just being everywhere when it comes to drifting. Thank you for being on, man.
Hey, thanks for the invite, Jeff.
So I don't know a lot of your history in the sport. I guess it seems like for a lot of people, I'm very ignorant whenever it comes to drift knowledge of just what's gone on in the sport before like 2017, 2016, whenever I super got into it. So were you into any other motorsports before getting into drifting, or what got you hooked?
Well, I mean, it's weird because, well, first of all, I mean, I'm not surprised that nobody knows my background in motorsport because I'm not really anybody. But I mean, at least anybody in the motorsports, I mean, I might talk about it, but I have never really done much more than that.
I got you.
But I think it all started, I guess like my love for the motorsports it all started with Gran Turismo. Probably a lot of the people, my age.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Guadalajara, Mexico, and we don't have a lot of the cars that you guys have here. So I remember I actually learned a lot about new cars that we didn't have back home through Gran Turismo.
That's awesome. I played so much GT2.
Yeah, specifically Gran Turismo 2. And I just remember we used to come to the States every through the holidays. Okay. Like we do like a whole month of like snowboarding and driving around my dad's RV.
Oh yeah.
So for me, that was like the time where I go to the States and I get to see all these cars in person. And funny thing, like I remember one of my favorite cars was that Subaru SVX.
Yeah.
And the time I saw one in person in the States, I was like, no way, like there it is, you know. So with that being said, my first car as like a car, not a truck, was my Datsun 280Z.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, which I still have. Actually, I brought it from Mexico. I still have it. It's in my garage right now.
Really?
And so back home, I had that car was an import. Like, you know, that car was never sold in Mexico. That was what I used to drive back home, but nobody knew really what it was. Like a lot of people were like, "Oh, is that a Jaguar? Is that a Porsche?" And like I was just like, to me, that was like this car that just for some reason grabs a lot of attention. People don't even know what it is.
I mean, it looks like a race car for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like that was one of the cars that Datsun was big about of bringing to the racetrack, you know, win on Saturday and go to church on Sunday type of thing.
Kind of, yeah. Like it was pretty much the whole Fair Lady series with starting with the convertible and then the Fair Lady Z. And yeah, I mean, it's like a car that's a sporty, but it's affordable.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it's like the people's sports car.
For sure.
It was cheaper than a Corvette back then, and it performed almost as good as a Corvette.
Because that would have been during the smog years and stuff, I'm assuming.
The what, sorry?
That would have probably been like heavy into the smog years of whenever Corvette's high output was like 180 horsepower.
Yep, exactly. So like the late 70s, early 80s, that's when the Datsun Z was at its peak of popularity. And but yeah, so I mean, you know, like back home, imagine like this car was never sold, so it's not a common sight, and people loved it. And I started to like be known as like a car person, if you may, like somebody who has like a different kind of car, and like, oh, you know, like Paco. You know, I was only, I don't know, 20, 19.
Okay, hell yeah.
You know, and with that being said, I had a lot of friends who were into Camaros and Mustangs, and I mean Camaros and Trans Ams, and there was like a Camaro and Trans Am and Corvette club in Mexico. and I ended up buying a 78 Camaro, and I joined them.
Okay.
So even though I wasn't like the biggest Camaro fan, I mean, I still like them, and I had my 78 Camaro as well. And we used to have like track days.
Yeah.
And on track days, people will, they'll try to get their Camaros around the road racing, around, you just try to do some grip racing. And I remember that I would bring my Datsun to our little
Track
road racing events. Yeah, track days. And I just would not try to grip it. Like I literally would try just to slide it around corners. And that was like how I just like love like driving this car. Like everybody would like just like accelerate in the straight lines, and as soon as the turn will come, like they'll start slowing down, then take the turn, and then accelerate. I would do the opposite. I will try just to go as fast as I could, and when the turn come over, like just like try to whip it around and try to slide it. And it was an open diff car, and it wasn't like it had a lot of power, so one tire fire here and there, obviously. But I that was kind of like where my first love of driving irresponsibly around a racetrack started.
Yeah, just literally trying to have as much fun as possible in the car, not be like, oh, I need to shave a half second off my lap time. It's no, let's see how much faster I can enter this turn.
Yeah, no, like I had no interest on beating anybody, and on the track, I just wanted to have fun, and everybody in the track will be like, I mean, we're into Camaros and Trans Am. But that little Datsun is like killing it. It's just like sliding around. It looks like he's having a lot of fun. And then all the other guys will try to do the same, and they'll just spin right away. And they're prepared for suspension wise or anything like that for that. They're just, everybody's mostly like a drag racer.
For sure. So it's just body roll whenever they decide to try and go at it.
Yeah. So when I moved to the States, I brought the Datsun with me, and I remember, since I didn't really know anybody, one of the first things I did was try to meet new people, and I went online. Like this is a time where like forums were still a thing, and I found like the 350Z AC 350Z forums. So I joined, and hey, how about 280Z Datsun? And everybody's like, oh yeah, what's up? Come on, come hang out, and we'll go on like night rides, and every now and then we'll go to like this, like a late night on the abandoned parking lot, whatever, and they'll try like to do drifting and like donuts and stuff like that. And to me, that was like, oh, like these guys are actually doing this, like this is what they do for fun, like instead of like the drag racing.
Yeah.
So I started they would also come go to the local drift events, and I'll start like going to the local drift events in my Datsun as well. And that's pretty much like the first time that I officially went to a drift event and tried to drift it. And it wasn't that much fun, because obviously the car wasn't anywhere prepared for drifting, open diff. Just had like lowering springs, no power steering.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was a riot.
That could get real rough real quick.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually, the thing I remember the most is the steering wheel hitting my fingers. I had like bruises all over my fingers. Just the steering wheel was I had like a Nardi steering wheel, and those metal spokes will just like hit the finger so hard.
It's like, were you out boxing this weekend? No, fucking the steering wheel fucked my hands all up. What?
I went drift. Yeah.
I went drifting. What, like on trains?
So I had so much fun that I decided I need to build a car specifically for this. So I decided to start taking things apart on my Datsun and put something together. But in the meanwhile, I never really finished building it, because I ended up buying a C5 Corvette.
Okay.
And that's what I did drifting at events. So the funny thing is, like, I was drifting Corvettes before it was cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask, about what year was this?
2008.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Man, and like, going out to events now, like C5 Corvettes just seem to be taking over for the grassroots stuff because everyone's just like, yeah, I didn't even have to do anything, you know, maybe springs, but otherwise it just goes.
It makes so much more sense. I mean, it's a car that it's already LS swapped.
Yeah.
It's balanced as hell because the C5 have the transmission in the back, first generation to do the transaxle.
It was made to be a race car.
It was, and I mean, and it wasn't easy. Like the first times I took that car to the track, it was like I was trying to fight a car that wants to grip.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like some friends like helped me like set it up and a little bit and like, okay, so now I'm gonna actually start like having a feel for it. And it was fun. It was definitely fun. But the funny thing is like a lot of people didn't talk to me because it's like, oh, who's this guy with a Corvette? Like, you know, I would like try to go like if I see somebody driving very good, I will go like, hey, dude, like I see you're killing it. Like, do you think you can give me some advice? They're like, oh yeah, what are you driving? Oh, that Corvette. And they'll be like, no, just keep driving. And they're like blown away, you know, like.
Yeah. Well, now, did you have the whole Corvette get up with the jean shorts, New Balance, Corvette museum shirt?
The thing is, like, I would wear old Subaru. At this point, I already had my SVX.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was kind of like a Subaru guy. So Subaru shoes and the Subaru shirt and Subaru hat.
Driving a C5 Corvette.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. Like, I guess like the Subaru look, that was like the first thing that will help me break the ice.
Yeah.
As soon as I said Corvette, they're like, oh,
fuck this guy.
Yeah. So I ended up like getting to the point where I was like, okay, am I going to build the Corvette like just full, like it's paid off? And I had two choices. Like, do I keep the Corvette to, you know, just keep going and building it properly? Or should I just like do something else? And I mean, at this point, like, you know, I'm known for liking weird cars like the SVX, the Pontiac Aztek.
Oh, you like the Aztek?
I have one. Yeah, it's one of my favorite cars I ever owned.
Now, does yours have that whole like camping thing that attaches to the back of it?
Oh, stand.
Oh man.
The cooler, center console, everything. Yeah, I love the thing. Now,
did it come with the blue meth or no?
No, okay. No, that you have to cook it yourself.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so like, you know, I was like, okay, should I just keep building the Corvette? The thing is, like, at this point, nobody's drifting Corvettes. There's no aftermarket anything.
Yeah.
Like no angle kits, no like to put coilovers on a car that comes factory with lift springs instead of regular suspension.
Yeah.
It's super expensive, and I had to do it both front and rear. So it was gonna cost me a lot of money, and like there was still like had to be like a lot of research done. Yeah, so I decided, okay, I'm just gonna buy something else, something more basic, and build it. But I just didn't want it 240 or a BMW that everybody was drifting.
Sure.
And my first option was a Volvo wagon. I love those things, and I know like some of them are turbos, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a Volvo wagon. And like, there's a couple friends who were drifting Volvo wagons already,
nice,
successfully. So I was like, well, I can go this way. But then I remember that not too long ago, I was invited to go drive Lemons.
Okay.
My idea for Lemons was to buy a Previa because I knew they came with rear-wheel drive and manual transmission as an option. And, you know, in Lemons, like cars usually get kind of like banged and hit. And well, with the Previas, with the engine being kind of like in the middle, it's very protected. So that's you can like, you know, like you can hit him hard and you will never hit it hard enough where you damage the drivetrain. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to put together a team. I'm going to buy a Previa, and it's going to be the best Lemons car. And it never happened. Like we never got the team together. But the idea of the Previa just remained in the back of my mind. So when I was like doing this, you know, conversion from leaving the Corvette into moving into something else, I remember the Previa. I was like, okay, maybe I can just buy one and see what happens. And fair enough, I go on Craigslist and type Previa. The first one that comes up, it's $900. perfect conditions, and it's a manual and it's rear-wheel drive. And I go and test drive it, and like right there, I just pay him cash, and I drove it home. And the very first thing I did, I just strip everything on the inside. I got rid of all the seats, and cut the rear springs. And I was too jumpy, so I put footballs in the springs. And I think I was one of the precursors of active dampening suspension.
Quote unquote active. Tom Brady would have been proud.
Oh yeah. And like I literally just I welded the diff.
Okay.
First thing I did, welded the differential, and one day I took it. And I did all the Tofu livery. I did like the A86 Fujiwara Tofu shop livery. Replaced all the Previa badges, and I put like Treno, Apex, 16 valve, and carbon hood. It just made it look like a joke.
Yeah.
Like what happens when Takumi expands business and it's a bigger vehicle, to go down Akina mountain. So
how much power did the Previa have?
Factory made like 125 to the wheels. I put it on the dyno.
That's more than I expected, honestly.
It's not that bad. They made a supercharged version.
Okay.
And it only makes 25 more horses, so it's not that much more. But the problem is the weight.
Yeah.
It's heavy as hell. But after I stripped it down and all that, I took it to the track, and like people thought like I was like part of like the track crew. Like I was gonna like send cars, Then they see that I lined up. And everybody's like, nah, this guy has to be joking.
He's gonna go pick up some cones.
Yeah. Nope. First tries went at it, and I had the e-brake. The e-brake is between the door and the seat, by the way.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah, shifter one side, e-brake on the other side. So I was kind of like, like changing hands.
You're skiing as you're going down the damn.
And I went for a couple laps, and like it broke like people's minds. It was like, what is going on? And it was the most fun I ever had. Like it was like, this is the stupidest best idea I ever had. To the day, I still think is one of the stupidest best ideas I ever had. And what's funny is that first day that I took the Previa to the track, that was the very first time that Sam Drift Idiot, like he was he was shooting the second video.
Oh shit.
His second Drift Idiot Day 2 Drift Idiot thing. So at this point he already made like day one, and he was like at this time if Jalopnik shared something for you, it'll blow up, like everybody will know about it. So this point, Jalopnik already made an article about Sam's Drift Idiot video. So I go there, it's like, oh, that's the Drift Idiot guy. And he's filming, his video. And then he sees the van and is like, whoa, that thing is stupid. So we talked and became friends. And that's like, that was like the first connection that ever. Oh, the other thing, sorry, Corey was also at the track that day. And at this point, I already knew Corey, but like we weren't like friends. We just knew about him because I was like the local Formula Drift guy. And but he was there and he saw it too. And he and Corey and Sam started like making videos together. And I was like kind of like invited, to the video things as well, because I mean, obviously Corey likes stupid things.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we all meet, and it all happened. Like this, the initial
magical
connection.
Day.
Yeah, it was pretty much, it was a van.
I guess I should have always just figured that Maximum Driftcast started because of a van.
I mean, it started because of Drift Idiot, because of the van, and because of Corey's, like silliness, and just it's just such an authentic and very original way of joking, and we love that. Like that's one of the things that we like about him the most. It's just very authentic and unique way of making fun of situations.
His level of sarcasm is unmatched.
Yeah, it's and what's crazy is that that's how he is. Like it's not like he turns on the switch and no, that's him. So that's probably one of the best parts, and it just worked.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's been a while.
How long ago was that event for everything?
I think the Previa happened in 2012.
Okay.
It's been a little while now.
Yeah.
So I think 2012, and then by 2013, I already had like modified the Previa, like roll cage it and put like an S14 subframe and cut it and chopped it and lightweighted and then Jalopnik was also sharing about like, oh look, this guy built the Previa, and just like I started like getting like a lot of attention. And this is like when YouTube was less blogging and more like just people uploading videos.
Sure.
So I will be uploading a bunch of stuff, like the Previa doing donuts and the Previa doing burnouts and stupid videos that had nothing to do with it. But like my channel just started like blowing up, and I started getting a lot of subscribers, and I just never thought of like, oh, I'm gonna do this for a living.
Yeah.
But at that point, if I had kept going and just uploading and started like maybe like doing the vlogging and all that, maybe I would have been Adam LC. So, but I did not. So it's Adam.
If you would have just went all at it, you'd have millions of dollars right now to just throw around on cars that would probably be just like what you already have of a billion different cars that aren't running, and some that are.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I like to think that I'm just not that much of a fan of making videos all the time and having like my whole life exposed online. Fair. But it's still fun. I mean, I still every now and then I upload little things here and there, and I still get tons of comments and people watching some of my old videos. So,
well, like you mentioned before, you have a very unique taste when it comes to cars and what you want to do with them. I don't know how many people, when they see a Previa, is just like, yeah, I see that sliding around corners.
I mean, I guess unique is a very nice way of saying it.
Fucking crazy way of thinking about cars.
Yeah, it's the way what I tell people is like, yeah, I'm crazy, and I would never advise anybody to do what I do. Because that's the other thing. I would get tons of people like, hey man, I want to buy a Previa and I want to drift it. I'll be like, dude, that's awesome, but honestly, like, I mean, you're gonna hate your life. Like, you're not gonna have the same fun. It's a pain in the ass. Like, I will be like, I get something that is gonna be fun. Like, I wouldn't advise people to go my route, like, and just build stupid shit.
Yeah. What should I do to start? Well, if you follow me, you'll start with a 280 with an open diff, and eventually you'll come up with a Previa.
It's just a natural progression, right? 280, Corvette, Previa.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of a better line of progression when it comes to race car.
And yeah, I mean, I guess I plateau right there because since the Previa, I had to put it down because it just reached the point where it wasn't fun anymore. Like, just not enough power, not enough.
Well, that's when you turbo 4.8 swap it, and
I mean, that was the original plan, turboing it. But at that time, I had a lot of friends here that were like fabricators and builders, and I got like a lot of ideas from people, and they're like, you know what, let's just do a flat six swap and mid-engine, and then no, let's do a 2J. And one of my friends like, yeah, let's just do a 2J, and it's gonna be sick. It's gonna make it 100 horses, it's gonna pop flames, and I was like, all right, well, let's do that. And I put it on my buddy's fabrication shop, and I started cutting and taking things apart, and then suddenly the guy like literally screwed everybody, left and abandoned everybody's projects and took everybody's money, and the van was like in the middle, so the van was just like literally left as a hunk of metal. And I was like, fuck, okay. So
Plan B.
Yeah. And it was about the time that we were starting Driftcast. So it was like, well, I started getting very busy with Driftcast, and
Yeah.
so it was hard. It was hard to put the time on it. So the van kind of like it went to the back burner, and then the back burner turned off.
So a few things out of that I feel like are great branching points are 2J swapping. So how is it a C3 or C4? I always forget if it's a C3 or C4 that you have that you're 2J swapping.
Oh, it's a C3.
C3.
81 C3. So it's the last of the C3s.
That thing is looking insane.
Yeah, I mean, I decided, I mean, I still want to build a van, but I just wanted to build something just bonkers, you know, like one of the things, I'm an industrial designer. I graduated from school as an industrial designer, and I wanted to design cars. Like that was my dream. But I realized, like, you know, being a car designer is one of the most competitive jobs. Like, it's impossible to get in there, you know, super, super hard. So I always wanted to design cars, and I ended up designing fiberglass parts, which that's what 2F Performance is. You know, we do the body kits and all that stuff. But
I need to hit you up after this.
Hit me up. But I wanted to do something with a car. I mean, I obviously I'm not designing a car, but I just wanted to do something wild, something different. And I happened to find a C3 Corvette for very, very cheap. No engine, no transmission.
Okay.
It's on a car, so it's like no rust. And all the fiberglass is there. And I was like, I can, you know, probably buy this and just do something cool. And the 2J that I had for the van and my garage, I just like put it on the engine bay and it just fit. It's like, dude, it was meant to be here. So, and also, you know, the very first Corvette was an inline six. So to me, it was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. I can totally do that. And I posted a couple of photos online, and people lost their you know, I was like, oh, dude, you have to do this. And at that point, I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it a lot. I'm not just going to swap an engine and drive it. I want this thing to be bonkers.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, you know, I want like Wise Fab, and I want like, let's make it right-hand drive. Let's make it like it's like a Corvette in Japan, and like it's just obnoxious. And
I didn't even realize the right-hand drive part of it. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like I try to go as legit as possible. Like, I had like real bright seats, and, you know, like not. I didn't want it to go with like something that's gonna like cheapen out the build. You know, like I found like real Advent 3-spokes, you know, SA3s.
Oh, shit.
Which, by the way, I love these wheels since the longest time, and I always wanted a set, and I managed to actually get a set, and they're wide as hell. They've been modified before, and they're incredibly obnoxious for the Corvette. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I just wanted to make something that's just nobody would have made. Like, I know if I told this to anybody else, they'd be like, nah, not really. So like, you know, like the roll cage is like a T-top roll cage, so it's open. You know, the front was chopped, and we like redid pretty much like an S14 geometry.
Okay.
For the whole front.
I was wondering how you were going about trying to get WiseFab set up with it, and what car's WiseFab kit you were using.
It's pretty much all S14. So like, that's one of the things I did with the van for the rear is like, I'm just going to put on an entire S14 subframe. That way I use S14 control arms and coilovers and wheels and dual brake calipers, and everything that's made for a 240 will bolt in the van. So I went with the same mentality when the Corvette's like, well, I don't want to hit something and then not having the part because it's a custom made part. You know, I just want to have something that I can just pick off the shelf or order a couple weeks. So after doing like just like the simplest design available, I think is the S14. It's just very, very simple, and it just works right.
Yeah.
I think everybody who drifts like 14s and 15s, they can tell you like that car with WiseFab is all you will ever need for a. I mean, not that you need WiseFab.
Sure.
I don't want to be that guy, you know. Oh, you need WiseFab to be good. No, but I'm just saying, like just taking it to the top maximum level of modification. That's it.
Yeah.
So we decided to like replicate everything from an S14 on the Corvette, cut the whole subframe. I mean, so the whole frame, make our new frame on the front, and everything bolts on. I mean, it works great so far.
When do you hope on having it up and running?
I wanted to have it at least like Bluetooth drive shaft ready for SEMA last year. But it's tough when you have like a lot of like sponsors and people involved and not being able to bring some parts at the same time, like when you need them, and you can't like push them, you know, you can't be like, oh, I need them now. Or so since I'm not competing, I don't have like a deadline.
Yeah,
I do want to have. I'm hoping to being able to drive it at least at one grid life.
That's what I was going to actually say is I would love to see that things, whether it's its first appearance or not, show up at a grid life this year.
Oh, dude, I'd love to. I obviously before I'll need to get on it and drive it and make sure that I can earn my spot. You know, I'm not a professional drifter or anything like that, but I want to. I want to believe that I am very good at adapting and learning.
I've only been to one grid life. And that was Grid Life South, the Road Atlanta one.
So yeah, that's where I met you in person.
Yep. And like whenever I saw that E30 drifting around, I'm just like, are they really just letting anyone in here? Like, what the hell is going on?
That's Thick Rick. I mean, he's got skills. I mean, if you can drift like that on a base car like his, like I think he's just had like coilovers and welded diff.
Yeah.
If you can do that, you are worthy of great life appearance, you know?
Fair enough.
He's a little obnoxious on his driving. Like you can like see some of his indoor onboard cameras. And he's like swatting flies like crazy. But man, he's manning that little thing like a boss.
Yeah, dude. Like, because I was there. I think I was doing media for Dream Tank, and just like watching, you know, Taylor Hull, Chelsea DeNova, Von Gittin, all these big mean ass cars just flying, and then it's just like there's an E30. What? Why?
Yeah, I think he said that like he thinks he got accepted by mistake the first time, so he was like, oh shit, I have to put in a good show.
Yeah. And
he did. And
now they just keep on bringing him. Well, I guess they don't. Since
he became local treasure.
Absolutely. I really wish that they wouldn't have canceled South for this year. That was disappointing.
That was definitely. It was kind of sad, but at the same time, like you could tell there was a little bit of resistance from the local authorities.
Oh yeah.
They didn't like us having that much fun.
The police around Atlanta don't play.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we saw that. I'm surprised we got away with so much the previous years.
Dude, like I still think one of my favorite things I've ever seen happen was at Road Atlanta, probably like 2015 or 2016 FD. You know, the big hill that like you cross through the tunnel that goes under the track, and you just have that big hill that goes up and kind of like tees off. Yep. There was like a C5 or C6 Corvette that was doing a burnout. There was like an 80s diesel Dodge pickup doing a burnout. And then like whenever they just took off, this car from behind them just just went flying ahead of them and cut him off. And it was a black Charger. And then you just see the trooper get out, put his hat on.
Ooh.
It was just like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, well, apparently when you're inside Road Atlanta, like the whole track is considered like highway or something because they operate inside the track. So
Yeah.
I really wonder.
That's weird.
But I mean, it was fun while it lasted.
Oh yeah. And yeah, it just seems like every year they just crack down more and more and more and stop people from having fun.
Yeah, this last year it just got way too weird. Like they kind of like corralled us at the bottom of the paddock.
Yeah, I heard some issues, I guess, that first night out there at the paddock of just wanting to stop anyone from having any sort of party or anything.
Yeah, like literally, your music's too loud. Like, so what? There's not a single house around in over a mile. So
yeah.
Why is there a sound ordinance? Like, who's complaining? But nope, they don't care.
Yeah, that's... And then, yeah, I remember, what was it? The Sunday, they had to wait till like noon for the track to go live.
Oh, really?
Because of sound ordinances for church and everything.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah.
So it's just like, but there's not a church for a ways out from here.
Hey, there is a church inside everybody's hearts.
Oh.
I mean, it's from the Bible Belt, man. Like I'm nobody to there and tell them what to think or how to be, man. Like I'm just happy being there, and like I'll do as I'm told.
Fair enough. Pretty much, it's just like, I'll walk the line until it means, hey, yeah, if you keep being stupid, you get arrested. I'm like, okay, I don't want to get arrested. Calm down.
Yeah. No, and I'm also like, I'm usually the designated sober person.
Yeah.
Designated driver. So
I didn't see you drinking from that wine bag. So
I usually drink in the wine bag at the morning next day. Yeah, not at night. Yeah, I mean, I'm usually the guy who's driving everybody back to the hotel.
I got you.
So I'm kind of like the voice of reason when somebody is getting a little too wild. I'm like, hey, I hate being that guy, but if you break an arm, you're not gonna be able to win the championship. Oh, okay, that's true.
So
maybe I should chill.
The one decent friend amongst everyone else saying, just send it.
Yeah, I try not to be that guy, but I mean, I'm kind of like that guy sometimes.
Totally right there with you, actually. Yeah, I'm normally like, hey guys, you know how really bad of an idea this is if we keep going, right? So we should stop. No, we're good. No, that's not what I'm saying. We're not good.
That guy already lost his breath one time. That just means the next one is going to lose an arm.
Yeah. It's like, we just had someone break a rib 5 minutes ago. I said we're good. Come on, we need to stop.
Yep.
Oh, man. So other project stuff. So what other cars do you have that are currently in the making or trying to mess around with?
Well, my Datsun, my 280Z, it's like one of those like very long, slow projects. So I'm restoring it. So I sandblasted the whole shell and it's powder coated.
Nice.
And, yeah, it has like a half cage. And that one I just wanted to be like a full air conditioning, stereo, full interior.
Okay.
Weekend, so so that one's going slow, but I mean I still have it. So that's my college car. It's still my car.
So for it being a weekend car, why go with the half cage in it?
Oh, it's still part of the like just being safe. And I want to half a cage. I mean, it's just like a 4-point, just behind seats. So just want to make sure that if for whatever reason something happens and I flip over, the roof's not gonna cave. Oh, or if I go the drag strip and run the quarter mile and it's 12, 13s, nobody's gonna yell at me.
Yeah. I just saw a video the other day of I wish I could remember where it was at, where they had the concrete K rails and someone hit it and flips right over at like a low speed.
That's K rails for you, man. It's like they're designed to do that. But yeah, I mean, like it's not a common thing, but you can flip pretty easily if you hit one of those.
Oh yeah, I mean, with how the bottom of them's angled, it's meant to, like, if you hit it from the side, yeah, you're going overboard.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of the K-rail is to redirect the energy from sideways to up.
Yeah.
That's literally how it's meant to happen. So, if you hit him, you don't just like stop dead on, like just moves the energy up and you don't die.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't crush you and you don't fly into the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we kind of like lost this idea of like the car is meant to roll over.
Yeah.
And you're just supposed to be strapped properly in the car. So if it rolls over, it's probably because for the best.
Wait, people care about safety though?
That's right. 2020, man, like safety is too expensive.
But I need a Hans device. What crap is this?
What kind of German stuff is that? The hell out of here with your hands.
We beat the Germans in WW2. I ain't wearing no Hans device.
Yeah. I mean, little people know that Hans device was implemented because of Dale Earnhardt's death.
Yeah.
That's how pretty much how he injured himself. He hit so hard his head and with the weight of the helmet, pull forward where his body is being strapped. So it pretty much breaks your neck and cuts your
spine, basically.
Your spine, yeah. So it's the Hans device is a very American. This is more American than NASCAR. Like
yeah,
you got to do it for Dale.
That should be their selling point.
Hans device, do it for Dale.
Oh my god! Like, tell me that wouldn't sell every one of them.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy that this stuff is implemented, and especially in drifting. I think.
Oh yeah.
I love grassroots drifting. I love the feeling of doing fun things with your friends, and maybe a little bit off topic. Like I think I this is one of the things I've been wanting to attack on the show, like the whole thing about Pro-Am implementing hands and fire suppression is like. Guys, a fire suppression system on your car, it's like literally you want to save your investment. You put hours and hours of sweat and tears and money onto these cars. Like, it's only $450 for like a good multi-spray, like a 4-point spraying system. Like, something goes out, pull that lever and it's cheaper than insurance.
And like even going to grassroots events, I've seen way too many fires happen.
Yeah. So the way I see it is, I'd like to make a comparison with flag football.
Okay.
So we all like football, and like it's fun to play football, but you're not gonna go and get shoulder pads and helmets and all this gear just to play football with your buddies, right?
Sure.
So. You invent a new way of playing football called flag football, where, like there's a rule, no tackling, and you have to pull the flag of these belts, and that's it. That stops the play. And even with that, there will be injuries. There's always going to be somebody who dislocates an arm or falls on his elbow or gets kicked in the face. 2 heads crash, like there are injuries. Like you can't prevent people from having injuries.
It stops you from falling down, but it doesn't stop concussions.
yeah. You can't safe-proof the world. Like people are meant to die. Like we have to die out of something. So obviously there's certain things that are preventable. Like in this case, well, let's not hit each other with any kind of safety. So let's just put on this flag thing. And there's always going to be somebody who's going to break the rules, and everybody's going to be mad at him. And next time we don't invite him to play flag football, right? Because like that guy just rough and he's always trying to point. So I feel like that can happen on drifting too. Like Pro-Am, it's on the name Pro. Like meant to be a path to going pro, right? I mean,
absolutely.
That's why it says pro. It doesn't mean, oh, pros and amateurs drive here. It's more like a go pro from amateur. Like it's that's why it's a competition.
Like one of the greatest things I got to hear last year, because I went to East End's Pro-Am events for a couple of them. And in like the after event, I'm trying to remember which ECU company was there. Shit, I can't think of who it was. But one of the guys came out there and says, like, if all the drivers want to take this seriously, you need to get sponsorships. And when you do this, you go to different bigger events and tell them you're a professional racer, because that's what you're doing out here is you're racing in a series trying to get into a bigger event, and that makes you a professional racer.
Yeah. I mean, it's the next step, right? I mean, if you're doing something that you love doing, but you want to also make money out of it or make a career out of it,
sure,
pro, that's what it is. And a lot of people don't understand. Like, they still think that pro means grassroots but cooler.
Yeah,
like roots but with cameras looking at you.
And that's one thing that's killed me whenever I see people bitching on Facebook for like any of the drift groups or whatever, of being like, I can't believe that they want us to follow, this rule or this rule. And it's rules that Pro 2 are following. And it's just like, so if you're pissed about this, do you want to make the next step? Or are you just someone that's grassroots drifting that's not even competing in Pro-Am and just wants to bitch?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So there's that. Like the people who just bitch and complain because they have nothing else in life, that those we can ignore. They suck.
That's always going to happen.
Yeah. But there are the ones who have a valid point. And I'm recently I've been kind of like I've been trying to pay more attention on what's the whole thing about the cool thing about grassroots. And I love grassroots.
Sure.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, there are people who they just want to jam with their friends, and there's people who enjoys the competitive aspect of drifting, the battle, like like not just tandeming and that was sick, bro. No, like actual competition tandem, which just like flag football, like there's no real reason on why we're gonna play flag football, but we still go and do it, and it's fun. And whoever wins, like, that's cool, and the losers are like, whatever, but then you go and do it again next week.
Yeah.
Because it's just like the natural competitiveness of humans. So I believe that there's a valid point on especially on the people who just wants to drive, doing battles and have fun, that don't necessarily want to go pro. And it's a very valid point.
Absolutely. Like, and I mean, drifting, doing grassroots events and shootouts, or other big one shot events where you can win money or you can win a plate. Like, really, like, I don't like the idea of shootouts for getting into Pro 2, but I love shootouts for, being a big comp where you have a ton of people show up, you get a bunch of spectators, you get a bunch of drivers, and
I love it, but the shootouts are just as Pro 2.
Sure.
I mean, look at who shows up at pro like this the 100K shootout. Alec Honadell on his comp car. We had who else was there?
Taylor Ray, Taylor Hall
in his Cadillac. He qualified 6th. And they have all these other drivers with 800 plus horsepower cars. Like these guys are pretty pros, if you ask me. Like those are not grassroots build cars.
100% agree. I guess my issue with the shootouts leading into Pro 2 and stuff like that, like earning a Pro 2 license from a shootout, is it's not only about having the car and being able to drive like a fucking madman. It's about the determination to be able to hit, 4, 6, 8 events, whatever it is in that season. Because if you go to Pro 2, it's not going to be just, you just need to make sure you can make it to this one event.
Yeah, that's something that people learns by doing. Like it's so hard to understand it just from saying it. Like, oh, like you have to do 4 rounds at least.
Yeah.
And when you just do one shootout, earn your license. I mean, if you don't at that point, you don't understand that you're gonna have to spend a lot of money going at 4 rounds of Pro 2. Like you're setting yourself for disappointment.
Sure.
So I think the people who is winning these shootouts, I mean, I think they know.
Yeah.
Like, and even if they get their license, a lot of them, they don't want to go pro. Like, I keep thinking, like, a lot of people think like getting a license is like, oh, you won a prize. No. When's the last time a prize costs you more money?
Yeah. I mean, it really is more of an opportunity than it is a prize.
Yeah. You earned yourself the opportunity to spend a ton of money. What a prize.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, no chicken dinner. Yeah. Like it's, like a lot of people still don't understand. And I think the people who don't understand are the people who are not winning the licenses.
That's fair.
The people who's complaining. Because the people who actually got their license and they put together a sponsorship
they get
book,
a whole program going on.
I mean, finding budget and like they're the ones who are like putting the work. Like, holy shit, I didn't win a prize. I didn't win. It's not a raffle.
Yeah,
it's like you don't get.
You want a clusterfuck.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you actually went through hell and came back with a key. You know what I'm saying? Like and that key just opens the door to a harder dungeon.
You are now on the second level of hell.
Yeah, exactly. It's just different levels. Dante will be proud of Pro 9 levels of Formula Drift.
Whenever they bring out a Pro 3, it's just you're gonna start seeing people get that idea together of just building a hell chart of here's where you are now, here's where you can be. Remember, blue is the hottest fire.
And Andy Locke is the Cerberus. And now you have to defeat him in order to be able to pass to the next level. Yeah, it is. It's you're not getting anything for free. Oh, you won your life. Oh, you're getting a pass. Like, no, it's not. It's tough. But kind of like going back to the people who don't want to go pro. Like, I mean, there's people who don't want to do that, and I get it. Like, who in his right mind wants to spend all this time and money and effort into going to competition with other 40 people who are doing exactly the same?
Yeah,
it's tough, like unless you're like legitimately are looking for a professional driving career, you shouldn't be aspiring to go pro.
Yeah,
that's the thing that I keep telling people. Like, pro driver means this is your job now. You're a professional driver. You're getting paid. I think Ryan Little said it the best way. Oh, are you getting paid? Because otherwise you're not a pro. Like, you're just playing being a pro.
Yeah.
But if you're not getting paid, you're paying.
Yeah.
And when's the last time you had a job where you had to pay the business, right?
Very true.
So,
well, there's this multi-level marketing job I had.
Yeah. And you have to bring in 10 of your friends. And
you were in that one too?
Oh yeah. I'm in the top of the pyramid.
Oh, dude, platinum tier.
I got my pink Crown Victoria a few years ago. We're talking about Mary Kay, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
I mean, is there another one worth joining?
I mean, right now I heard essential oils are hot.
Oh, they are. I'm happy to sell you all of them that I have. But
I mean, like I think like people like I keep saying it in the last couple of weeks. Like everybody who posts about the whole Hans device, like, dude, if you can spend an extra $700 more on top of your Pro-Am, your Pro-Am program, you have no business on Pro-Am.
Yeah,
like just do local drifting. Now here's the thing. I believe there is room for these like street legal cars. Like I think East Tenn.Drift had like a street legal series, and there's been a couple other what do you call them? Sanctioned bodies where they have like a street legal attempt of a series. And I believe it's possible. I believe like they can allow cars that don't have a roll cage, that don't have fire suppression, that are maybe a racing seat and maybe a harness, or maybe even like a factory seat with just a 3-point seat belt.
Yeah.
But there has rules that people need to contemplate. Like they need to weigh it. Like for example, if you get left behind, you can't charge. You can't just like try to charge to catch up. Like if you're left behind, that's it. It's over. You're done.
Yeah.
If you try to charge and like to get back on the door of the other car, you get immediately disqualified, because chances are you're gonna end up T-boning the other car, like as we've seen many times.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
People trying to charge and get in the photo, like there's a 3-car tandem and here comes a fourth one, and it's a strike.
Oh yeah.
So I believe it's possible. Obviously, I mean, if you go to a regular drag strip, if your car do less than 14 seconds on the quarter mile, you're not required to have fire suppression or roll cage or anything.
Sure, you can just bring up. It's either I thought it was 13, but it also may depend on the sanctioning body that's over that.
Yeah, it depends on the city or the track.
Yeah. But yeah, where you can just bring the car that you drove to the track and you bought from a dealer, even, that you just take it out.
Yeah, I mean that's not a rare thing. I mean, like a lot of people, I remember I made a post about it and people were complaining like, oh, if you crash in a car that's less than 14 seconds, you're an idiot. Like, it happens.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like there's also concussions playing flag football. Yeah, it happens.
You act like no one's ever lost a tire just going down the road.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even 14, 15 second car in the quarter mile still crosses the line at 95, 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So that's already faster than your average freeway.
For sure.
If you have two cars doing the same speed, they're both going 100 miles and one, loses control and plows into the other. That happens. But you know what? Sure. Like, racetracks allow it because you can't prove the world, like NASA or like road racing, you can you get your HPDE license on a minivan, on a rental car if you want, like whatever it is, you don't have to have a race car. They don't demand to have anything, it's just a factory car. It's supposed to be just as safe as the other car around the track with you, like, so if you have a series where the cars are like in the same situations, no crazy modifications, like there's no reason to believe that one car is going to cause this incredible accident where everybody's going to die and everybody's going to get sued, Yeah. But if it happens, it happens. I mean, you can't stop people from having fun. Like, you can't just like say, no, it's impossible. You're not supposed to do these things with your car. I mean, it's weird. In any other motorsports, you can do it. Why not in drifting?
Yeah.
Like do like a 200 horsepower or less cars. So, like even the FRS makes the cut.
199. Let's do this.
199 horsepower. You can get in. You can, like, there's rules, so no charging, no, no, like if you,
I feel like the horsepower one's going to be so hard to enforce, especially if you're doing any competition where there is an actual prize or anything.
Well, I think it needs to be like stockish cars, like, I mean, KA car, like, dude, an S13, an S14 with a KA, with a dual cam KA drift just as fine.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need an SR20 to drift and have fun.
True.
Like if you already swapped an SR20, now you're going into like, oh, well, you already modified the fuel lines and like Now it's up to you if you modify the fuel and you put a bigger pump, and now the car is modified.
And it's obvious if someone's throwing cams in it and everything else, trying to get more power out of it.
Yeah, but you don't have to. That's the point. Like having a faster car is not going to make you win. It's like if you play flag football, it doesn't matter if your linebacker it's double the size of the other guy. You just it's
trying to make it focus more on skill than a horsepower race or
exactly. And you see, and that's why, for example, like when you do bracket drag racing, you can have a 16-second car versus a 13-second car, and the 16-second car can still win.
So we're pretty much talking about pre-Daigo FD here.
Probably like pre-FD.
Yeah.
Like just like literally like I'm talking about stock FRS.
Yeah.
Stock S13, a stock S14, a stock BMW 335.
325.
Like just 325. Well, yeah, 335. Yeah, 330. I like at most. Like sub 200, 250 horsepower cars.
Because I'm just like, I have an 04 GTO. Damn it.
And dude, yeah, that's too much. That car is probably a 13-second car on the racetrack at the quarter mile.
I think it's like 13 and a half or something. Yeah.
I mean, like that's already like borderline. Like, you'll need a cage. And like, I took my Corvette to the drag strip one time, and they didn't let me come back. I was like, dude, it's a factory car. Like, well, I'm not gonna like, well, you have to put on like a roll cage on it. Like, okay, well, yeah. I need a slower car. But you know what I mean? Like it's there's a way. I think it's just a matter of being serious about it. Like I think, like I said, there's already sanctioned bodies trying to do it, and I think there is a room for people to have fun with their friends on cheaper cars. That if you crash your car and mess it up, you didn't destroy like a $40,000 investment. Like you fix it easy. The speeds are not too crazy. Like you can make them kind of like autocross style, like doesn't have to be walls. It can be just away from the walls, and so there's less chances of concussions, and things can be done. It's just a matter of sitting down and having a conversation with the right people.
I think that would be a really cool event to either compete in or watch in person. Where
hell yeah, down. We keep talking about these doing like Rabble the Forsbergs and Turks and Daigos and like put them on single on KA cars and just have them all go like a spec drift. How much fun would that be?
I would fucking love to see like an actual kind of like what NASCAR is, like a spec'd out FD event of, okay, we have a bunch of S14s. They're all 2J or SR20 or whatever swapped. Each one's, the same parts are being used in all of them. You're allowed to adjust the suspension how best fits for you. And then we're doing a 5-event series of who wins this when you put everyone in the same car.
I wouldn't even let them touch the car. It's just like, that's the car. It's like when you go to the go-karts. That's the car that you got to drive. Like, make it happen. Because again, it's not a matter of the car. It's a matter of the driver.
Yeah.
Having a car that's like slightly slower or slightly grippier, it's not going to give you the competitive edge.
Sure.
Like when you're trying to show off your driving skills. I mean, again, look at so like for example, like Final Bouts Naoki Nakamura. Okay. Like he's known for putting one hell of a show with very basic cars. Like, you have this very flashy, big wheels, super cool looking car. And he just he puts a car on your door and it's been a great show. I mean, it's so much fun to watch that. So there's definitely the show aspect. It's still there.
Yeah.
Obviously there's something very cool about seeing 2 cars going 100 miles per hour sideways, big clouds of smoke, motor just banging on the rev limiter. But there's also a lot of fun on watching people control a car in a very nice and smooth almost majestic way, you know?
It's almost like art versus brute force.
Yes. It's expression.
Yeah.
Like these the final bout guys, they're doing something nice. Like you see all their team drift exhibitions, you know, like you bring your team of cars and you're all doing all these things very next to each other, and it just looks so nice and fluid, and the background is beautiful, and the people watching are just chill. They're just like, oh, that's so cool. Like there's that aspect of the sport that's also enjoyable. Not everything has to be burnouts. Or like
you don't have to not every drift event has to have every car leaving a cloud behind them that you can't see the other side of.
Absolutely.
Though granted, just talking about the speed stuff, if you ever have the chance to come to a Tennessee drift event, Nashville Super Speedway is the fucking funnest thing ever to watch.
I heard.
Because and granted, this is all my friend said that he entered so quick type of shit, but I've heard of people entering at 130. And that's just fucking like, I still can't imagine initiating a drift at 130.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, I was at there's a video from Vaughn. I think it's in Catalunya, the F1 circuit in Catalunya, where he's drifting these super long.
Yeah.
And I think he initiated like over 110, 120, something like that. Forsberg on his 4-door limo, drift limo thing, Road Atlanta.
Yeah.
He had like, his top of fifth year, whatever that speed it was, like 130, 140.
Holy shit.
People in the back.
I know it's typical for like FD for them to be initiating around, I think, 95 to 105.
Yeah, certain tracks have very, very fast initiations, but yeah, I mean, like, just some people don't understand. Like, imagine you're doing 75 on the freeway.
Yeah. If you were just
24 miles, and then suddenly janking the e-brake and janking the steering wheel and pull on the e-brake.
Yeah, we're going for a ride, everybody. Oh no.
Yeah. It's scary. It's serious business.
Now I just really want to see a drift event start with like a dad in the front seat. Look, they're doing 70 on the interstate. It's like, we're going for a ride. Just
going drifting, kick
the e-brake, and then it just like splices the film over to an FD thing.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, actually. That'd be really nice.
This is your mind on drifting.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, like, I think there's a lot of people who likes to think that because of one thing you can't have the other.
Yeah.
Because of professional drifting, you can't have grassroots, or because of grassroots, you can't have professional. Like, they're just feed from each other. It's good to have, like, the more professional drifting gets and the more mainstream it gets, the better it will be for the grassroots people, because there will be more exposure, there will be more parts, there will be more support, there will be more interest.
Totally.
There'll be more tracks. I mean, just last couple weeks, Lone Star Drift put together this Drift Week.
Hell yeah.
Thing, right? And it's kind of like a cannonball run style.
Basically mimics Drag Week.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what it is. It's Drag Week, but with drift cars. So everybody drives their car track to track. But drift cars, they take a beating. They take a beating at the racetrack. So when you put that that car on the road, you have to make sure that car is fine. You're going to drive many hours. And
you're trailering.
Yeah, and not trail. I mean, like, some people ended up trailering them just because they couldn't not, like Dan Brockett. I mean, he ended up flipping his trailer and his car broke. He's like, whatever. It's getting another car and I'm trailering. But
I still couldn't imagine how that must have been, looking behind and seeing the trailer upside down.
It's got to be, the weirdest thing. But what's crazy is that they managed to go drift at Indy Motorsport Ranch, which is like a very high end racing, like like
race
Ferrari and supercar kind of like racing club.
Yeah.
And they realized like, oh, this is kind of cool. Let's get these guys drift in here. And the people there were like, oh, that was pretty badass. Like, like drifting, it's getting on the spot where like people's getting interest. Like I remember a few years ago, there's still like older people like, I don't understand drifting. That's stupid. Just wasting tires. Who wins? Like there's no flag.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
It's a judged sport instead of just a numeric. Okay, here's absolutely who won this race.
Yeah. But now people are like, well, maybe I don't understand it, but it was fun as hell to watch. Like holy hell.
Have you been out to any of the LS fests?
I haven't. But
so,
I mean, I heard things.
Hopefully, I'll be at LS Fest West again this year. That was the drift at LS Fest West was unreal. But I've been making it out to East every year because it's only like an hour from my house. But it's crazy. Like I'm yet to see anyone that in person goes from watching drag racing to watching drifting and isn't super excited watching drifting. Like it's just like it's one of the best spectator sports you could ever imagine.
Oh yeah.
And like in the South, drag racing has always been huge. It's drag racing or NASCAR.
Yeah.
And it seems like it would be so easy for that fan progression to move to drifting, but it's just like still it's slow, but it's not, I guess. I don't know how the best to say it because there's plenty of fans of it now, but
I mean, the way I see it is like I don't understand how they judge extreme games, X Games, like skateboarding, like the tricks, and like dude, to me they all look like they all murder.
Oh yeah.
I have no idea how they choose who's the winner. But I'll have a hell of a time watching those guys doing those things on the ramps and like holy hell, like
100%.
Yeah. And that's what drifting is. It's a show that it's also a competition. It's like monster trucks.
Yeah.
Monster trucks are like probably the epitome of the stupid build. Like these things are not meant to be, and somehow they are.
Paco, what is dumb about having a big block Chevy with 300 shot of nitrous thrown into it with a tire that's about 8 feet tall, and then you're flipping over junkyard cars? What is dumb about that?
That you break it every single time. It's just insane to me. Like these guys jump these things, break axles that are probably $20,000 each.
Yeah.
Like holy.
Hey, G-Force loves it, I'm sure. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, I can't just imagine the kind of the oiling and the fuel systems that these things have to be able to run upside down and backwards. And
I mean, it's very similar to what is it running in a top fuel car.
But it's doing more than that. It's just doing a crazy show, and people. I mean, look at they're always packed.
Yeah,
and they keep pushing the envelope. Every other month, there's a new video of a new monster truck doing something like extremely insane. Like your mind can't even process like how high this colossus of a vehicle can jump.
It does blow my mind the amount of hang time they get with how much they weigh.
They look so light. Like they put helium in those tires. What's going on? Like how is that thing floating in air?
Yeah.
Triple backflips. They land on their nose and then they do like moonwalks. Like
yeah, just land on one tire and ride the one tire for like 300 feet. What the fuck?
Insane. It's the insanest and most like American thing to do. It's just like excess.
Yeah.
Just excess. Like but it puts on an amazing show. It's crazy. So when we see drifting is nowhere close to that.
Yeah.
And still a hell of a show. And you're going, head to head with people. Like it's. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people still don't understand it just because they haven't given it a chance. Like just they haven't stopped stop by just to watch and see like, oh, okay, that was fun.
Yeah. And like last year I got to introduce a family member of mine to it at LS Fest West.
Nice.
And he just always thought that it was, dumb. Okay, they're doing burnouts, whatever. But whenever he saw how technical it was, like how close people are riding doors, it was like, that takes an unbelievable amount of skill.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is like every time I see like a new person that like an older person who is watching drifting.
Yeah.
Oh, we used to do that all the time back in our days. No, you did not. Like, nah.
Dude, I have a buddy of mine that he was talking to me about what type of thing he can get into, and he's like, yeah, I can become a drifter. I'm like, you've never been to an event, you've never been to a grassroots event, you can totally do this. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm like, I don't even know what to say right now.
And they're like, yeah, I'll do it on my 1971 Chevelle.
Yeah, exactly. I can do that in my pickup. I spin tires around all the turns. I've been off-roading before.
And don't get me wrong, there's some people out there with skills. I've seen people pulling crazy stunts on the most unexpected cars. But yeah, like a lot of people still don't understand that drifting is not just skidding around a corner and then go straight. Like there's so much more into it. And when the people who thinks like that actually sees it and they're like, oh, that's when you're like, yep, now you get it. Now you see why this is not something that you can do and that it's worth watching. It's fun.
And like even that skill jump of being able to connect corners versus being able to like stay steady and riding a door through in a tandem is just unreal.
Oh yeah, just because the cars look like they're like super smooth and next to each other, when you see the camera inside the onboard camera and you see how much they're playing with the pedals and the e-brake and the steering, like, oh, okay. They're not just like, turning, like they're doing a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah, watching the footwork for some of the drivers is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the footwork is one of the most insane pieces of footage that you can watch on any motorsport, because they're doing so many command inputs.
Yeah.
In how long is a drift race in average? 10 seconds? 15 seconds?
I guess it depends on the track, but I would probably say it's like 30 to 40.
They're super short, like.
Yeah.
And the amount of input that the driver puts in that very short span of time.
Oh yeah.
It's insane.
It's definitely my favorite foot videos to look up on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Matt Field, Nate Hamilton, Vaughn, they have some crazy.
Oh yeah.
Foot camera.
Hell, like I even love watching like Ken Block has some great ones for his Gymkhana shit.
Yeah.
Of just seeing what's all going into watching his car do all the ridiculous stunts that they have it do.
Well, I mean, Gymkhana is probably the epitome, the max level of coolness video you can ever do. And still with that, you'll have people complaining about it. It's the same as the last time. It's just fucking burnouts everywhere. Like, yeah, do that in my Focus. Fuck you. They're fucking amazing videos, and everybody who doesn't, shut the fuck up.
I mean, like, I get it. Gymkhana's not drifting because it's 4-wheel burnout going on, but holy fucking shit, if you don't think he's talented and don't think that he's putting on one hell of a show, it's unreal.
Yeah, it's the show. It's the show. It's the video editing. It's the sounds.
Oh yeah.
Like, for example, I'm not a fan
of a lot of work.
Yeah, but for example, I'm not a fan of the Huni truck. I don't like the V6 twin turbo sound. Like I'm more of the unicorn, the Mustang with the V8 turbos, fire, and then the truck looks gigantic, but it sounds like V6. But you know what? Still, I'm not gonna let that ruin it for me.
Oh yeah.
Like who else? Like, I mean, my Corvette build, it's kind of like in that same catalog of crazy it might look like a regular car, but it's not. You know, like
your Corvette's not going to sound like a regular Corvette. Why not?
It's gonna make. But you know what I mean? Like it's just the craftsmanship and the when you look at these cars up close and like, oh shit, they put a rally transmission on an old Mustang with like all-wheel drive. They make an all-wheel drive Mustang. Wait, what?
Yeah.
With a V8, and then they do that with a Ford GT motor. I don't know what these twin turbos on the Hyundai truck.
I think it was like the one out of the pickup.
Okay, that just the EcoBoost.
Yeah, one of the EcoBoost engines. I could be wrong, but yeah.
It's still like it's just so like whoa, you know, like this is a V6 twin turbo engine that's on any F-150 right now.
Yeah,
you just tricked out, whatever. But holy hell, like look what you can do.
And you see like the amount of clearance it had. Like I love the did you watch all the making of stuff on Amazon?
Yes,
dude. Like seeing how much clearance there really was for some of the turns that he was hitting. And like, so he literally has like a 3-inch gap of whether he makes this or whether he totals his vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? How, like, fuck.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's one of the things a lot of people don't take in consideration. Like, oh, you know, he did it 10 times. So by the time you see the video, you can see all the marks. So what?
Give me 100 tries and I'm still fucking running into the wall.
At the end of the day, he did it. I mean, there's an example, Ryan Turk on the Ferrari powered GT
4586.
4586. He takes it out for the first time, going to Canyon Run. First shot of the day, wrecks it into a wall. Ruined the day for everybody, but you know what? They still managed to put it back together and work. And he's like, "Fuck," you know, like he's a great driver, and he made a mistake.
Shit happens.
And at the end of the day, they still put on a very cool video. They actually had a Ferrari as a camera car, like actual. I think it was like a
430 probably or something.
430. What's the next one? The 458. Yeah, the
458.
Yeah, the 458. So it's kind of like the same car where the engine came from.
Yeah.
Great videos, you know, like it's just such cool content.
Oh, absolutely.
Which it leads me to making one of the things I love about drifting the most is that it's not about who wins. It's about who puts on the best show, who has the biggest smile at the end of the event.
Very true.
And that's why, you know, guys like Ryan Turk, who rarely wins, he's still one of the more popular drivers.
Yeah, and look at like Von Gittin the last couple of years, where he's only won a handful of events, or podiumed in a handful of events.
And that's the craziest thing. Like, you know, he's capable of podiuming, of winning.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't, he's still gonna come out with a smile, and you'll be like, "Oh yeah, we didn't win, but you know, still had a great time." Like, he is the professional fun haver. Like, he's literally having fun getting paid.
I mean, and how the fuck do you watch one of his event, like watch him at an event and you're seeing a Mustang on 3 wheels going around corners and you're not, and you don't smile? I mean, what the fuck is wrong with you in your life?
Entertained.
Exactly. Are you not entertained? But,
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Oh man. Yeah. And like really, drifting in general is just like everyone involved. Like if you're driving, spectating anything, it's hard not to smile when it's going on.
Oh yeah. I mean, it just happens. Like, you don't know what's going, you know, like the first time you see something that it's not natural, that it's not a common, you kind of like, you freeze.
This is not supposed to happen.
It is not supposed to be happening. And your brain is trying to process what's going on. And you're like, huh? That's kind of like what drifting is. Obviously, after so many years, you just like expect it.
Yeah.
But there's still moments where you're like, did that just happen?
Oh
like,
yeah.
Did James Dean and Peter Vinchek just like did like a perfect tandem battle where you can't even tell who's who and what's what? And
oh my God. them being introduced into the fucking FD has just been outrageous. How much everything has changed.
Yeah, they got it at the time.
It's basically become this, like, the sport has become who can chase better because everyone can fucking put on a 100-point lead run now. It seems like.
Yeah. It's I guess there's so many things to compete about. Like there's the winning. There's, for example, like like watching JTP or Chelsea Denova doing backies. Even though they're gonna lose, but it's like that guy put the best show.
Hell yeah!
Then there's a guy who like literally just puts the hardest battle, like 3-1 more times, and they're still going. Like, whoa! Like, this is so awesome.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's so many. There's always something, like unique and different, and then like some drivers do the surprise, like that, like the time where Castro went one more time against James Dean and then he ended up defeating him. It's like,
holy shit.
Wow, like, holy awesome driving. And then you talk to him and he's all like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, just nice dude. Like,
dude, Castro is one of the most humble fucking people in existence.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. And
like I remember sending him media from an event, and him and his wife both added me on Facebook and thanked me.
Nice. Yeah, and that's the other thing, man. In drifting, it seems like you find more down to earth people.
I've said this for a long time. Like drifting compared to especially drag racing, you find one of the most nice, humble communities of people that are willing to just help each other and welcome everyone in. Where I was used to seeing drag racing and people not wanting to show us under the hood of their car and not willing to tell you anything that's been done to the car. And drifting, it's just like, oh yeah, you should totally hook your car up with these knuckles or do this to it, and just wanting to help people out as much as they can.
Yeah. It's just like, I guess, like the way people starts and gets into drifting, it's one of the reasons why when you go pro, you remain that. Like in other, for example, like F1, you have to start when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You have to start like, usually going to the go-karts that are expensive. So
kart racing to Formula 4, Formula 3, Formula 2.
You already started with a background of like wealth and status at some point. So it's very hard for a lot of these people. Like, I don't blame them. It's just hard for them to be one of the guys, where in drifting, most drifters started from the bottom.
And now they're here.
Yeah, now they're here. and you can tell, like, I mean, I think grid life is one of the, even Formula Drift, like, they have an open pit.
Oh, yeah.
People can just walk and talk to their drivers and interact with them.
Dude, I almost flipped my shit whenever I went to FD Atlanta and was able to have a conversation with Tanner Faust.
Oh, nice.
Like, I was just like, what? How is this happening? This was probably like 4 years. This was his year where he had the Jetta with the gooseneck spoiler and all that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I've seen this guy on TV. I've watched him do rallycross for years. And I was just fucking through the roof that I was just able to walk up to his pit and just chat with him for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. And he's a chill dude.
Dude, insanely. He's like, yeah, he's telling me all about his car, the LS, the turbo LS under the hood.
Yeah.
And, like chatted about the Top Gear US and all sorts of shit. I'm just like, I'm no one. Like, I was just like a fan at the event, and he's willing to just, spend time, chat with people, because why not?
The way I see it, man, is like when it comes to drifting, is like, do you want to have fans or do you want to have friends? Because friends stay longer.
True.
Like friends don't really stab you in the back. Like fans, they can
they'll
change.
Turn.
Yeah, they'll turn, but when they realize that you're just another guy and you want to be friends with people and people gets it, like, oh shit, okay, you know what? Like that's one of the things that makes it so hard about watching FD because I just want everybody to win.
You're not wrong.
It's like I like this guy. I like this guy. This guy's been super chill to me. He's super cool to me. Like, dude, I want them all to do good.
I do, like, yeah. So, like, the last year I've been hanging out with Taylor Holler, chatting with him a ton, and every year, every event, I'm just like, God, I hope he gets top 16. Come on, try and get top 8 this one. That would be fucking great. Yeah. And I'm just like, I only like him because I'm friends with him, and he also does have a 900 horsepower Cadillac ATS-V, which is fucking gnarly. But, you just meet these people, and they're the same type of person that could be living down the street and just be your friend.
Yeah.
And it's fucking great.
That's one of the best parts about it. Yeah. Like, to me, like especially the professional drifting community has been so accepting and welcoming. Like they know I'm into the weird cars and the weird builds, and they cater their jokes towards what I like, So when you have people making fun of you,
oh yeah,
at the same time that they're making fun of everybody else, it makes you feel more integrated to the group, and then you shit back and they just laugh, and which kind of like leads back to why we do Driftcast, like we wanted to show people that all these professional drivers are just people.
Yeah.
And you can, kick the shit with them and they'll have fun kicking back, and
except for Corey, fuck that guy.
but like, I mean, like, especially like the people we interview.
Yeah.
It's so like
humbling.
Sometimes they don't even expect it. Like they expected like an interview, like a very stiff and serious, and then they realize like, oh shit, I can just like have fun. These guys are not. We don't take ourselves seriously or too seriously.
Yeah.
We want to give them, obviously, our guests. We take them seriously, but at the same time, we want them to not take themselves so seriously as well. And that's what people seems to like about our show. That
Absolutely.
It's more of a hangout.
And that's one thing I've been trying to help with a lot of the grassroots guys, because like, if you end up going from grassroots to pro-am and go any higher and have never done an interview before, it's just like, okay, you need to know to relax. And I'm not going to give you the interview that is going to be the hard pressing questions. No, you need to know how to just have fun with it and just make yourself likable.
Yeah.
Like, just be yourself is pretty much what needs to happen, and not just, sweating, nervous to answer the next question.
Exactly. Like, I think like you nailed it. Just be yourself.
Which is why Corey needs to put out his fucking fart video.
Dude, I'm super embarrassed. I won't lie. It's a very, very embarrassing video because it's me who's on the video.
Yeah,
and it's me. Every time I see it, it's like, God, I look like such a retard. But, I mean, it's fun and it's fun and whatever.
Yeah.
But it's all up to him, man.
Just what you guys need to do is have an episode that you put a dollar mark of, once we reach, this amount of money that gets donated to us, it goes to a charity, and once it hits that amount, you hit that top goal for the charity, and he has to release the video.
Ling, 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 hit the bell.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that just to me just feels like ransom. That's like, we don't want to gouge. Like,
hey, it goes to charity though.
It's for a good cause.
Yeah, the fart video is going. The money towards the fart video is going to charity.
I feel that's not a bad idea, but I mean, $100 seems almost like an insult.
I mean, everything about the podcast is an insult.
That's true.
I mean that in the nicest possible way, I promise.
You make a good point. Like, maybe we should do like a charity race, see how much we can raise for a charity.
Yeah.
And at the end, we put the video.
Oh my God, that'd be the greatest fucking thing ever.
I'll talk to the boys. We'll see if we can make that happen.
Oh shit.
Good idea, man.
Absolutely. Also,
Yeah.
We need to get you to have either Tofu Van or the C3 as a halftime show for FD while they're waiting on trying to figure shit out at some point, and there's just a bunch of downtime.
That'd be cool.
You just get the fans riled right back up.
Yeah, we actually talked about that. We actually had talks with Ryan and Jim about, like, not necessarily my van but just like doing something, like bring the hooligans and do burnouts, like something like that. Because I think my stuff is more suitable for that kind of like show.
For sure.
But yeah, definitely. That's definitely a good idea. And I think it's all a matter of, at the end of the day, it's all a matter of budget.
Yeah.
Like the not necessarily a sad, but it's like the tough part of the professional aspect of things is that at the end of the day, everything costs money now.
Very true. Like, in all honesty, what I would fucking love to see is have a group. I'm trying to think of names of any of the more common like drift groups around that are like grassroots style stuff, but have a group set up that is like ready for any like longer period of downtime, because it happens during every race, and sometimes it's planned, sometimes it's not, but they hit the track during downtime periods.
Yeah. They used to have Pro-Am. I mean, obviously not at the same time, but at least it like people could be able to watch Pro-Am and then FD, which I thought that was pretty cool. I think I like the idea of having like some stand-up comedian. And like
I don't know,
I
don't know who would be good for something like that.
Sam
sucks.
He's a good comedian. He actually can write some good jokes. I dabble a little bit on the stand-up thing. I wrote some jokes and some bits, and I kind of like thought like how cool would it be to like kind of like write some bits, some jokes about the pro drivers and what they do and all these things, and kind of like,
that'd be pretty sweet.
Like, I mean, it's doable, like a
absolutely.
roast.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Like just shit on everybody, and
you know how amazing it would be to have a halftime, like the halftime bowl show at Irwindale for the final event of the year, and have someone just go out and do a roast of every Pro 1 driver. That'd
be sweet. One of the things about when it comes to the halftime is that people they want the audience to go walk around the paddock and and the vendors, and
that makes sense.
Yeah. So one of the reasons, like, for example, like our halftime show, the idea originally was to put it right in between the paddock where all the people sat, and one of the things that made us think twice about it is that maybe a lot of people like stick around, and they wouldn't go to the other.
And like people want that time because that allows them to use restrooms, allows them to go get some dinner or lunch depending on time of day. So that definitely makes sense to have some downtime, but just to kind of like be able to extend, like, there's always that big downtime between top 16 and top 8 at most events.
Yeah.
And like to be able to, before you have the official top 8 ceremony, to be able to lead it up with something like you guys doing stand up, or, a drift team coming out and just kind of getting the crowd riled up and doing some stupid shit.
Like I would like to, you know what? Like now we're talking about like the whole like roasting and all of that. Like it might be a good thing to like have like amateur drifters kind of like trying to do things, and then we roast them like, oh yeah, that was a nice burnout. Oh, we have a 1 tire fire right here. Like.
Hey, can you weld the diff before you get back? Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Next. Might be a good idea. I think
that was a solid half send.
There you go. So when you send it, then return it. Yeah. So yeah, there's been talks. Like there's definitely there's some brainstorming between us and Former Drift, like trying to come up with things to do. But yeah, I mean, you just gave me a couple more ideas. I'll make sure to send a check for the brainstorming.
Yep, I gotta pay off my camera somehow.
Perfect.
But yeah, oh, that made me lose my train of thought.
I guess we're having a good time, man.
Absolutely. It has been a fucking blast having you on so far.
Dude, thanks so far, man. Like I had a lot of fun.
So do you guys have any big plans with the Driftcast for this year?
Well, I kind of have some ideas that I would like to come up, like make them reality. But at the same time, Driftcast, it's a team of 3.
Sure.
And Sam is in California. He's usually pretty busy.
Yeah.
And Corey has his own thing where, he's kind of like half-time managing his driving career, his builds and the Twitch on Hoonigan and doing the live streaming and all that. And I have a job. I have a job. I'm a civil engineer.
You work?
And I also have. No. Oh yeah.
Kidding.
Yeah, I mean, and then on top of that, I do the body kits.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I do Driftcast. And since the studio is absolutely not in my house, I have to make sure the audio is fine and get the upload the files and make a post and make sure that everything's taken care of, and it's another job,
I mean, in all honesty, just knowing some of the technical backing, because I do IT work for a living, and having a live stream show that's set up of basically streaming 4 people at once with you 3 in different areas, you 3 at different places and a guest that's somewhere else is not an easy thing.
It's not, man. And it's like a very nice balancing act that we kind of have figured out. But every time something comes up that's slightly different than what we're used to, eventually there's difficult technical difficulties, and there's not much we can do about it. But it happens, and at the end of the day, the show must go on.
And plus, hell, you're also moderating a chat room basically while the show's going on.
Fortunately, I'm the least required of talking, I guess. So I'm okay with being able to just moderate the chat and make sure that the stream is healthy, and Brian, obviously, he's helping us in switching camera, checking levels and all that. But at the end of the day, it's still my responsibility. So it has to be. Yeah, I'm not gonna blame Brian if something goes wrong. It's not his fault. He's helping us. So
all the blame goes to Brian. Got it.
It's all his fault. It's all his fault.
Damn big dick.
Yeah. Big. Pretty small penis.
Oh yeah, my bad. It's just resting on him.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. Dude, I have a lot of ideas. I want to make all these video series, and I want to make this more short format.
Okay.
Talking points and news kind of things, and I might be able to once the Corvette is more built, because that's the other thing, on top of that, I still have to be working on that car and finishing it. And
yeah.
But who knows?
Instead, you're busy buying an electric Fiat.
Yeah. I love that thing, man. I love it. This is the best car. The best car I could have bought for the situation I'm going through.
I didn't even know that they came in an electric model for the Fiats.
Yeah, they've been doing it, I think, since 2015, I think.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I don't think they were available everywhere. They were only available in California.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense then.
Yeah. And all the this place I bought mine from, literally they just get all the cars from the leasing.
Okay.
People returns their lease and they sell them for super cheap. So, mine, it barely had 15,000 miles, one owner, always service at the dealer.
Yeah.
Got it for a quarter of the price of
hell yeah
of what it goes for. And it, and I was spending almost $300 in gasoline on my truck.
Yeah.
And now I maybe do 20, 25 of electricity.
That is a little bit of a difference. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I can park everywhere. I don't have to like jump over the curb every time I need to park my monstrosity of an Avalanche.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
And
There's definitely days I'm glad I don't drive a truck every day.
yeah.
Granted, like I had a 2014 Chevy Cruze for a good while.
Okay.
That thing was so easy to park in like parking garages or wherever I had to park. It was just like, okay, yeah, find a spot. Oh no, they're slightly over the line. I can still fit in there.
Perfect.
And I couldn't imagine with that little thing how it's just like, oh, there's a motorcycle spot. Zip.
Right here. Yep. Yeah, I love this thing. I can go on the carpool lane if I have to, like just by myself. And it actually goes like it does. If off the line you floor it leaves everything behind.
That's sweet.
Yeah, so like it's so funny. Like just a couple days ago, there was like a Challenger next to me, and the guy he just couldn't believe that I just left him off the line like later, and then he passed me like at 55, and then like did like a riser flyby, like really.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good trolling little car.
Yeah. You need to
do it's great.
It needs to get some crazy fucking vinyl wrap on it just to make sure that it stands out, that everyone knows it's you in there.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing like an Abarth conversion. I have the seats and a Abarth steering wheel, and I got the wheels as well.
Okay.
I don't want it to stand out too much. I just want it to look less
shit.
It's got like flower looking wheels. And
now, can you do the Mustang thing where you get engine noise through the speakers?
No, I'm perfectly okay. I love how quiet it is. It's like I'm jamming my music, or sometimes having quiet just makes like a nice little.
Now, are you aware that at some FD tracks you're going to have trouble driving an electric vehicle?
Where? Oh, like yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I like electric cars. I really think they are the future. I'm sure gas powered cars are not going to go anywhere in a long time. Like I know a lot of people are worried about like my gas. Like, nah, don't worry. Like
you might see electric cars take like 10% of the vehicles on the road in the next 15 to 20 years.
Maybe 25%.
Yeah.
There's still gasoline is still nowhere close. I mean, electric is nowhere close to gasoline when it comes to range.
Oh yeah.
That's never gonna go away. Like
the fact that you can fill up in 5 minutes every 400 miles.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like the amount of energy in 1 gallon of gasoline, it's, like equivalent to like, I think it's like something like 140 something batteries. It's stupid. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, there will never be an object with so much stored energy that is relatively stable as gasoline. So
yeah,
gasoline still has a long future.
I that definitely makes sense. That if either straight gasoline or becoming more of an E85 basis where it gets subsidized with plant oil and everything.
Hey, it still pops and burns, right? Like,
oh, absolutely.
What people cares about, like when it comes to gasoline, like I want my noises and like sorry, E85 will make them.
Oh my god, and like so many drift cars have swapped, like so many race cars in general have swapped over to like E90 or E85. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's like the downside is that if you don't run it too often, it just gunks.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're, as long as you're not letting your car sit for 3 months, then you're fine.
And if you do, there's ways. Like if you're gonna store your vehicle, there's ways of like priming and making sure that there's no E85 in the lines and blah blah blah. There's ways around, but
for sure,
yeah, E85 is a great fuel. And it smells like tortillas when it's burned. It does. It does smell a little bit like
Yeah,
tortilla dough, you know.
yeah. It's definitely better than the smelling of 93. 110 has its weird smell that
Yeah.
can burn the eyes after a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Like this is like general advice. Everybody who's a gearhead should have an electric car.
yeah. I mean, electric cars definitely, they have their place in the world of cars in general. I doubt we'll ever see like a Formula Drift based on electric cars. I don't see ever happening just because. Huh?
I don't think it's ever going to happen where it's like just electric FD.
Yeah.
They are electric because again, like one of the beauties about drifting is that you can go head to head with very unsuspected vehicles, like very different vehicles. That's my favorite part of it.
It's just the noise. It's horrible.
It still makes a tire noise.
Yeah, but just the tire noise without engine feels wrong.
I mean, but again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like it's like this thing that it's just hard to recognize, you know, because we're not used to it.
It takes that adaptation period.
It eventually becomes normal, and you adapt, and you just like your mind sees it and records it normally. But
who was it that had the electric Camaro this year or last year?
The what? Sorry.
Who was it that was driving the electric Camaro last year?
What's his name?
Tyler? No.
I don't know. Shit. I'm being so bad with names.
Dude, I am too. It's rough, but
I don't know what's going on.
Whenever I saw it driving, like all I could think of, because
I was real.
Yep. All I could think of was previous FDs of like Macquarie driving the Camaro and hearing that 700 horse LS just pounding away. And I'm just like, I'm not getting the same sensation. I mean,
you know who's also not getting the same sensation and they're still doing it for themselves.
Yeah.
They're bringing, a Mustang electric SUV.
Yeah.
It doesn't get more sacrilegious than that, if you ask me.
The fact they're calling that thing a Mustang is so fucking weird.
I think what it is, my prediction is that Ford is going to make Mustang
a brand.
A sub brand, exactly.
Yeah. Kind of like SRT for Dodge or Ram for Dodge.
Mustang Coupe and a Mustang Electric and a Mustang SUV, like they're all going to have their own names.
I was just like, they just need to call it the Stampede or something like that and be on with it.
I thought it should have been the Clydesdale.
Yeah, that works. Just a giant horse.
Bulky horse, yeah.
The Budweiser horse, as I know them as.
But then, like GM is coming up with an electric Hummer.
Yeah. Oh my God. I saw that this week. I was just like, holy shit, or last week.
I mean, Elon Musk steered the pot with his electric truck.
With his Mad Max electric truck that looks crazy, and I would actually drive it if given the chance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hideous, but I love it.
Dude, like all I'm thinking of is that thing looks hideous, but it's going to survive the apocalypse, and it runs on electric, so that's an easier fuel to find.
But kinda, you still have to generate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot easier to make electricity than it is to make gasoline.
I don't know. You can make gasoline out of corn. You just have to burn it.
That's a good point.
Sure, I one of my favorite. I'm big fan of Joe Rogan.
Okay.
And one of my favorite lines from one of his specials was like, you really think you're smart? Like, how smart do you think you are? Like, how long if I leave you in the forest by yourself with nothing? How long until you can send me an email? Like, you know how to make this? You know how to make a microphone? You know how to make a light bulb? I don't.
That's fucking legit.
Yeah, like, if you think about it, like when smart people dies, we're not as smart as we like to think we are.
Yeah,
I don't know how to make a computer. I don't know how to make a cell phone. I don't know how to make a light bulb.
Yeah.
we're doomed, dude. Like, let's
I
just
can
hope.
make a light bulb if given enough time.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess you're smarter than me.
But that's the only one that I think I could come close to.
We still have to come up with electricity for the light bulb.
Yeah, that shit. If I have iron and a heating source, I still need. I'm gonna have to figure out a good way to start fire, which I can do that.
Probably fire a torch is easier.
Yeah,
and that's how we go back to the to the cave times, and we're going back to the Renaissance.
Oh, she's gonna get really hard.
But hey, in the meanwhile, man, just ride the wave, man. Get an electric car whenever you can. Drive it until batteries are not viable, and we go back to fuel, and we might be going back to steam once we're running out of fuel. And
oh my god, then all the hipsters with their steampunk shit are going to become popular again.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, are you a wizard?
It's our time."
Yep, time to shine.
Because of course, at that point, they truly did like it before it was cool. God damn it! This is the worst timeline.
It's the first time where hipsters actually make a sense.
We didn't realize the time was cyclical. No.
Yep. We're doomed to repeat our own mistakes, man.
Oh.
Over.
Shit.
Yeah.
At least I have my record player still.
Classic.
Oh, but yeah. Anything else that you're hoping on chatting on here about today?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, we could probably go for another 2 hours.
Easy.
But maybe we can save some for a second episode.
Fuck yeah. We'll have to do an end of season recap. Have you back on after the FD season?
I'll be happy.
Fuck yes.
Come on the show, man. Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, dude. It was an
I don't get invited to people's shows as much as you imagine.
Well, they're fucking stupid. I mean, whenever I saw you there, I'm just like, man, that would be so fucking cool if I had him on there. He's my favorite person from the show.
Oh, thanks, man.
Absolutely. You put on a great show.
Thank you.
I have one last question that I just thought about.
What do you want?
Do you have a favorite guest or a favorite episode that you've done on Maximum Driftcast?
I'm the worst when it comes to favorites. I don't have a favorite color. I don't have a favorite cereal. I don't have a favorite car.
So we'll just say it was the one that you had to speak in all Spanish. Got it.
I hated that one. There was so many things I wanted to say and I couldn't.
I'll never forget the whole experience of, because I had a 3-hour drive that I was making whenever I listened to that episode, and every time they were just like, "Oh, what he's trying to say is that," like, God damn it,
and it wasn't even close.
No, never once.
Yeah. I love Chris Stubbs.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines on the show ever was Chris Stubbs when somebody asked, I think it was an Instagram question, said, "Chris Stubbs, have you ever killed anybody?" And he responded, "Not for free." Oh, he's such an awesome person. I love him.
That's awesome.
Peter, our episode with Peter, the whole thing was amazing.
Oh my God. I wanted to get Peter to do my podcast so badly. I was trying to chat him up.
He's so much fun. He's that person. He's living life at his fullest. He doesn't care about anything else. When I grow up, I want to be like Peter.
Right?
Yeah.
Peter both seems younger and older than everyone, and it confuses the fuck out of me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird when you realize that he's married and he has kids. Wait, what?
If you told me that he was anywhere from the age of 21 to 45, I'll believe you.
Yeah, and he has a doppelganger that makes movies in Hollywood.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean... So yeah, I mean, hard for me to say what's my favorite episode, favorite guest, but dude, love everybody who's come on the show. They've all been awesome. They all been like they've shared a lot of things, and definitely love how after being on the show, how they ended up becoming more than just a guest. Like now we see them at the track, and now they're more like buddies.
Hell yeah!
And a lot of drivers actually like they were like struggling, kind of like like coming up to the spotlight.
Yeah.
And then they came on the show, and it just becomes easy. Like for example, with Federico, like one of my favorite guys on it. He was having a hard time getting people to pay attention to him because everybody was like, "Oh, fuck this guy! Who does he think he is? He got a Ferrari!"
I want to eat spaghetti in his trailer with him so badly.
Oh, dude, you just have to be nearby when they're making it because they'll invite everybody.
I chatted with him at both Grid Life and FD, and he's so fucking nice, like ungodly nice.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, I mean, like that's how you win. That's how you win. You know, to be nice to the people who surround you, and legitimately nice. Obviously, you know, I'm not trying to fake it, but yeah, that's how people reminds you, and how people ends up liking you. And
I just figured everything you said was an act, though, not like. I mean.
Like just trying to get people to like me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, you need to stop, you know, acting so hard, Paco. It's unbecoming.
It's like very obvious.
Yeah.
It's all a ruse.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Yeah, man.
But yeah, anyway, once again, you are fucking awesome for coming on here. I do greatly appreciate it.
Appreciate the invite, man. That was very nice. Sorry it took so long. Like it's like definitely I feel bad because like I should have done this 3-4 months ago at least.
I mean, shame on you for living a busy, fulfilling life. It's not acceptable.
God damn it.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man.